We are hearing Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we finished 10th chapter and read the introduction to the 11th chapter, that is a glance of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. So today we are starting. Arjuna Uvach Mat Anugrahaya Paramam Guham Adhyatma Sangitam Yatvayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama. Arjuna said, O Lord, the veil of my ignorance is now withdrawn after hearing the great and secret truth about the transcendental knowledge from thy holy lips, spoken out of compassion for me. Explanation: quite ignorant of thy inconceivable spiritual knowledge, I was steeped in the gloom of a negative line of thought regarding transcendental truth. But by thy grace, my delusion has been dispelled, and I have now clearly understood that thou art the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, the eternal self-revealed, beautiful Shama Sundar form, and that Vishva-Rupa is thy universal manifestation. It is always by the grace of Supreme Lord that we can know about Him. There is no other way to know. Impossible by inductive method, by our own effort, impossible. We will come to some other conclusion. But one who receives the mercy of Krishna, he can know Him. Like Brahma in 10th canto, he also tried to examine Krishna, to test Him, but he failed. Ultimately he was bewildered. So he submitted to Krishna, then Krishna graced him, and then he could realize everything. And then at the end he said, there are many who say, we know about Supreme Lord. Brahma says, let them say like that. I give my dandavat to them from distance. But as far as I am concerned, you are beyond my comprehension. Only by your grace I can come. I came to know you, and you are unlimited. There is no end. So there is no end of realization also. So such devotee who has actual practical contact with Krishna, he can never have any vanity of saying, I know everything about Supreme Lord, or like this. No vanity, no pride is possible for one who has actual contact with Krishna. Bhavapyayo hi bhutanam shrutau vistarasho maya Tatah kamala patraksha mahatmyam api chavyayam. O lotus-eyed, the creation and destruction of all living beings and the super excellence of the transcendental glory of thy eternal beautiful form, which thou hast described in detail in chapter 10, have been heard and understood by me by thy grace. How nicely Arjuna is telling, because he realized in this way. It is only possible by his grace. Like Brahma also said in 10th canto, Janmashtami will come soon. There he said, if you would not appear, then no one can know actually about your transcendental form. When you reveal, then, no, it is the, I think in 14th chapter or so, or it is that time. But the point is that when he reveals himself, then you can realize. that this is not material form. And everything else is also seen in proper perspective. So now Arjuna is having this same realization. Evam etat yathatha tvam atmanam parameshvara drashtum ichami te rupam aishwaram purushottama. O best of beings, O Lord Supreme, thou art so, even as thou dost describe thyself. May I have the vision of thy lordly form, Vishva-Rupa, which is immanent in the manifest world. Maharaj is translating in that poetic and old English. That is why thou art so, even thou dost describe thyself, so in that way you can understand. So Vishwa-Rupa is that form of Supreme Lord which is immanent in the manifest world. Krishna is both transcendent and immanent, present. So now Arjuna, after hearing about that eternal form, he also wants to know and have the vision of this Vishwa-Rupa. Manyasya ditachakyam maya drashtum iti prabho Yogeshwara tato me tvam darshayatmanam avyayam. If thou deemest me fit to visualize that universal form, then, O my Lord Supreme, be thou merciful to show me thy glorious lordly form. Explanation. O Lord of Yoga, a jiva, being an atomic spiritual part of the all-pervading soul or Paramatman, is quite incompetent to comprehend the glory of the Supreme Lord. As a jiva, I am eligible to have a vision of thy eternal form, but have no power to comprehend the glory of thy lordly universal form, incomprehensible to human understanding. But thou art my Lord and the Lord of Yoga. Krishna may appear in this world and everyone can see him by his grace, his form, but not all will recognize who he is. Hiranyakashipu directly saw Nrsimha. Even he appeared in a wonderful way, miraculous way, from pillar, and that unusual form, but still Hiranyakashipu could not recognize who is he, but Prahlad could recognize because he has devotion. So here Arjuna is saying, I can now see by your grace this, your form. Kamsa also saw but could not recognize. But about that Vishwa-Rupa form, that is impossible to see. So you have to give me that vision. But even this eternal form which appears, you cannot recognize who he is unless you are devotee and Krishna reveals himself to you. But here the point is that this universal form, how this is, now Arjuna wants to see. That is, of course, by the will of Krishna. Arjuna is saying, whatever Krishna is inspiring Arjuna, he's asking. It is arranged by Krishna, everything, all this, to do his own pastime in this world. as avatar, when he descends, he has some duty to perform. So his devotees also, they come with him, and Krishna is accomplishing his mission together with them. So Krishna is inspiring. Like when Prahlad submitted himself to Nrsimha Bhagavan after he killed Hiranyakashipu, and Nrsimha Bhagavan put him on lap. That time, Bhagavan Nrsimhadev, he touched on his head, and he infused him with that power by which Prahlad would sing the glories of Nrsimhadev. Nrsimhadev himself is speaking his own glories, and the purpose of his descent through the mouth of Prahlad. Dhruva also, Narayan touched his cheek, some say throat, with concha. Then Dhruva, everything was revealed in his heart. Then by his power, he spoke. There you will find in the prayers of Dhruva, first prayer, he told, you have entered into me by your Chit Shakti, spiritual potency, internal potency, Sarup Shakti, you have entered into me. And you have awakened this speech by which to sing your glories, which was till now sleeping, dormant. And you have destroyed that speech which was speaking about these material things, material talk. So you will find in that verse, first verse of Dhruva's prayers, that word prasuptam is there. Supta means sleeping. Supta. It was, so if you read the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you will find also Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made translation of that. Dhruva is saying, by your Sarup Shakti, you entered into me and you awakened that speech to sing your glories, which was dormant in me. That devotion was dormant in Dhruva. You will find in Bhagavatam evidence. But it can be awakened only by the grace of Sarup Shakti. Like our Gurudev told, only awakened soul can awake other sleeping souls. But he's not creating them. He's awakening them. So we need the grace of Sarup Shakti that is always required to awake, to manifest that dormant devotion to Supreme Lord, present in the heart of every jiva, innate. You will find evidence in Bhagavatam. In Dhruva, you read commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Also, in Prahlad's case, when Sanda and Amarka, the gurus, sons of Shukracharya, gurus means teachers of that politics and all this. So when Prahlad spoke that to Hiranyakashipu, that what is good to take shelter of Supreme Lord, then at first Hiranyakashipu was not so disturbed. He thought maybe some Vaishnava came and he taught him this, so now he's repeating. So he told, better you should be very careful so that no Vaishnava will come to my son. So when Prahlad came back to that school, they were worried, Sanda and Tamarka, that what Hiranyakashipu will say. So better we should try to find out from which Vaishnava Prahlad heard this, and we will catch him, then we will present him to the king, and king will no longer have any doubt about us. So with this intention, they very affectionately, or like with nice words, they said Prahlad, flattering, because that they wanted to achieve some purpose. So they said, Prahlad, you are the best of this dynasty, and you are learning your lessons so good and everything. They were praising him like anything. Then they said, but we did not teach you this Vishnu Bhakti, which you spoke there to your father. So from whom did you hear this? You please tell to your teachers. You have to tell everything to your teachers. It is your duty. You should not hide anything from your teachers. So you please tell us. Then Prahlad understood everything because he is a pure devotee. He could feel that Maya by their words, that Vaishnavas are enemies and Vishnu is enemy, and we want to catch that enemy. We are friends and that is enemy. So Prahlad said, I heard about Maya, by which people are thinking in this way, friends and enemies. My country, your country, my all this dualistic vision. I heard, but I did not experience. Today I experienced when they were asking in this way. Then he said, at first I bow down to Supreme Lord, whose this Maya potency makes jivas think in these terms, friends and enemies. I bow down to him. Like here, Krishna says in Gita, Devi hi esha gunamai mam maya duratya, mam eva je prapadyante maya metan tarantite. This is my Maya, and no one can surmount it unless he surrenders to me exclusively. Then by my grace I can remove that Maya. So Prahlad saw it. He experienced, oh, Maya. They are seeing like this. So he bowed down to Supreme Lord. This is his Maya. Then he told, it is, you will find in that 7th canto, that chapter, Prahlad said, it is, Supreme Lord is such that he is all attractive, and I am attracted to him like by nature, like iron is attracted to magnet. By nature, such is my nature. So I did not learn this from anyone. It is in my nature, and this nature is attracted to Krishna because he has such nature. He is Krishna, one who attracts all and pleases all. That is his nature. And Jiva's nature is to be attracted. So this natural attraction is there. Otherwise, how Krishna can be Krishna? Natural attraction is there, like iron to magnet. Magnet attracts iron. Iron is attracted by magnet. This nature is existing. But sometimes we don't see that magnet is not attracting and iron is not attracted. We see. So we say, no, this is all false. It is not true. It is true but there is some rust on the iron, rust, that brown thing, rust. So that is blocking. But immediately when you remove that rust, then that nature will manifest and it will go towards magnet. Magnet will attract. It is not created. It can be covered. When Jiva becomes averse to Krishna by the misuse of her relative independence, then it becomes covered by Krishna's desire, by his will. He's giving the fruit. So that time Jiva gets this false ego and everything, but nature is there. If you remove the rust, if you remove that aversion to Krishna, how? By the help of pure devotee. You need his grace. By his association and by his instruction, when Jiva will turn towards Krishna and serve him, then her natural that attraction for Krishna will be manifested. It will not be created. It is Nitya Siddha. It is eternally existing. Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasya Prakatyam Hridi Sadhyata. It will be manifested. So you will find evidence in Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj says, if you read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary and you read Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation in his Bhagavat Arka Marichimala and also in Shikastaka, you will find this nature is there, and this nature cannot be manifested by any other process except devotion. Not by karma, jnana, yoga, you cannot manifest that, but by devotion. In Bhagavatam, that verse is there, Bhaktya Sanjataya Bhaktya. By devotion, you can get devotion. Means by sadhana bhakti, you will get prema bhakti. Not by any other thing. So, what is sadhana bhakti? Kriti sadhya bhavat sadhya sa sadhana vidanitya siddhasya bhavasya prakritam kriti sadhyata. That is sadhana by engaging all your senses in the service of Krishna under the guidance of pure devotee. Because first limb of sadhana bhakti is what? Guru Padashray. That is first limb. Without Guru Padashray, there can be no sadhana bhakti. So one cannot say, I'm doing sadhana bhakti, but without grace of Guru. That is not possible. So these are, they can never be separated. So Guru Padashray, Diksha, Shiksha, and Seva, one that limbs. So when one will engage himself in the service of Krishna under the guidance of pure devotee, then that eternally existing bhav, love for Krishna, will be prakatyam. It will be manifest. And that will be by the grace of Sarup Shakti. Both is there. We need the grace of Sarup Shakti, and our nature is already existing. That will be unblocked, awakened, or whatever you say. Anyhow, you cannot describe by these worldly words, but it will, like one river, when there is some dam, then when you remove that dam, then the river will automatically flow. That nature is there, but it was blocked. So like that. So that is, for that we need the grace of pure devotee to manifest. So here, Arjuna is telling this. It is by your grace. Dhruva got this realization, because we need the realization, not only trying to understand by intellect and by knowledge of language. Then we cannot understand transcendental spiritual matters. They're beyond. It has to be revealed, then you can understand, oh, it is like this. So both is there. Grace is there and nature is there. And grace awakens that nature, or however you want to say. So here, if thou deemest me fit to visualize that universal form, then, O my Supreme, be thou merciful to show me thy glorious, lordly form by his grace. Those eternal devotional eyes, ears, then all transcendental senses will be awakened of the Jiva, of Atma. Atma has transcendental senses. Otherwise, how this Darjate Jagat, how can act in this world? Otherwise, it is impossible. Those senses are the cause of these senses. But now pervertedly used. So, Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Krishna is eternal among eternals, jivas, and conscious among conscious. If Krishna is a person, if Krishna is conscious person, then how jivas will not be persons, conscious? They are coming from him. They are Anu Chaitanya, small, but personality is attributed to conscious principle, not to matter. As long as Atma is present in this body, that he is considered as a person. You can get knowledge and everything from him or something, and categorical consciousness is also there. When Atma leaves, then there is no one will go to that dead body to get anything. And when Atma is present, then that person can cast vote to decide this one or that one. And happiness also is property of Atma, not of the body. When Atma leaves, then that body cannot give any knowledge, it will perish, and also cannot give any happiness, as was before. So this personality is attribute of Atma, not of body. Atma is a person, eternal person, can decide. It is not that body or intelligence is deciding. No, Atma is deciding. Atma has thinking, feeling, willing. Only by the presence of Atma do the mind and senses all this get animation, not otherwise. When Atma leaves, there nothing is there. So Atma is Anu Chaitanya, small conscious particle here, atomic spiritual part of the all-pervading soul, Paramatma. He is Vibhu Chaitanya, big. We are Anu Chaitanya, small. And this small Anu is not material element. It is not material element. You will find in Nyaya Shastra that smallest particle of matter is called Anu or atom. And because he is so small, you cannot divide him anymore. So he has no any particular form. But still it has a some form. But the thing is that when we are speaking, this is according to Nyaya Shastra relating to material atom. Material atom. And when we say that the Jiva is Anu Chaitanya, atomic, that is not referring to this material. And you cannot use that definition in relation to this one. You cannot use that definition to describe this of Jiva, Anu. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that Anu in relation to Jiva, atomic, means it is more subtle than any material atom. More subtle. And you know, Paramatma is even smaller. Paramatma is even smaller. Smallest. Brahman is greater than the greatest, and Paramatma is smaller than the smallest. And Paramatma has a form. How this is possible? Because that is transcendental, small, not material, small. Nyaya Shastra is referring to material atom definition. Like if we try to use some definition for worldly form of Nyaya, and then we try to use that definition to describe the transcendental form of Krishna, what will happen? That will be bogus. It will be totally wrong. Krishna has a form which is unlimited. Jashoda Ma could not tie Krishna, although his form looks like a middle, but could not tie. So how this is possible? Gyanis, they cannot understand. They think anything which has a form has limitation. But Krishna's form is not like that. So if by Nyaya we try to understand Krishna by logic, it is impossible. If we try to understand Jiva by logic, it is impossible. Jiva is Anu Chaitanya. Chaitanya is not matter, means conscious. If Paramatma is smaller, how Paramatma can have form and Jiva cannot have form? Because he is Anu. That is not correct. By the grace of realized soul, we can realize, if we follow their instructions, then we can realize. So here Arjuna is saying, being an atomic spiritual part of the all-pervading soul is quite incompetent to comprehend the glory of the Supreme Lord. This is Sridhar Maharaj told in that Harikatha. Then they said, then why you are trying so much to realize Supreme Lord if anyhow it is impossible? Then he said it is possible by His grace. By our own effort it is quite impossible. But it is possible by His grace. So to attract His grace, we are doing devotion to Him. By His grace it is possible. If it is not possible, then He is also limited. But He is unlimited. He can make Himself known to Jiva also. Like here we will see Krishna will show Arjuna his form. So Badu are the Lord and the Lord of Yoga. So we have to hear from a realized soul and also practice under the guidance of realized soul to understand, to realize the Tattva. We cannot know the Tattva by worldly experience, by worldly logic, by knowledge of language. No, because that is beyond language. Beyond. Otherwise, what would be the use of Upanishad saying only one who has same devotion to Supreme Lord as well as to Gurudev realized? So Guru means Guru, Shrotriya Brahmanishta. Upanishad already said He must have a knowledge of Shastra, Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. He must be realized in that. Otherwise he cannot be Guru. So when this word Guru is used here, it meant bona fide Guru. So devotion. Then the meaning of the Shastra will be revealed to him. Prakash. This word is used, Prakash. It will be revealed. It has to be revealed through devotion to a surrendered soul. Otherwise, that Upanishad could say you just go to school, learn Sanskrit and you can understand. But it's not possible to understand like this. It has to be revealed by one who is having devotion to Krishna and as well as to Guru. Then it will be real. Then you can understand, oh, it is like that. And you can understand why they described in this way. And another that verse is there in Upanishad. Nayam atma pravachanena labhyo na medaya na bahuna shrutena yam evaisha vrindhatena labhyas tasyaisha atma vrindhatanum swam. Upanishad saying, you cannot realize that Paramatma, and realization of Paramatma includes realization of everything related to Paramatma. When Vyasadeva in his Samadhi, he saw Supreme Lord, he saw also his internal potency Sarup Shakti. He saw Jiva Shakti, he saw Maya Shakti, everything he saw. You cannot realize Paramatma separately, means Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord means Bhagavan with all opulences, everything. Everything you will see in proper perspective. So that time, Vyasadeva saw why Jiva is bound by Maya, although transcendental, but misidentifying with Maya, Maya enveloped her by Triguna, enveloped. Although transcendental, but now thinking I'm this and having this anartha, other requirements, why this is there? He saw it. And he described it also in Bhagavatam. You will find 11th canto, Bhayandvitya Binaveshata Syat. Ishatapetasya, that Jiva, because of her aversion to Supreme Lord, Ishatapetasya, she's having this fear due to misidentifying with matter, which is all the time changing. So I will die, and all this fear is there due to misidentifying with matter. And the root cause of this is aversion to Krishna, Ishatapetasya. He saw everything. So he saw that the only solution for Jiva to become in her natural function is to do devotion to Krishna. That is her natural function. He saw everything. One who realized this point, not only hearing and repeating, but one who realized he has that medicine to give to others. He can help others, actually, because he realized. So here it is said, you cannot realize Paramatma, Nayam Atma Pravachaneno, by delivering lectures. Na Medhaya, not by intellect. Meda means intellect. Cannot. You can be intellectual giant, but you cannot. Na Medaya na Bahuna Shrutena, also by much hearing of Shastra. Cannot. Or memorizing much Shastra, that shloka, this shloka, everything you memorize, hearing, cannot realize Paramatma. Impossible. Upanishad say. Upanishad is Narayan, Shakshat Narayan, means Supreme Lord himself. That is Shruti, directly his words. He is telling, he is revealing. He is saying, you cannot attain me, you cannot realize me by this. Yam Avaisha Vrindatena Labhyas, one whom that Paramatma will choose by his own will, he can attain. And to him, he will reveal his eternal, transcendental spiritual form. And that will reveal everything in proper perspective. Like when sun comes up, then he will show himself and also everything in proper perspective. Our Gurudev liked that verse. Translation by Srila Sai Maharaj in Bhagavad Gita. When one is enlightened by the knowledge by which ignorance is destroyed, then his knowledge will reveal everything as sun lights up everything during daytime. And Gurudev said this is not intellectual knowledge. It is self-effulgent knowledge descending to a surrendered soul. That surrendered soul can realize everything, can see Supreme Lord and can see himself, who really I am and who all others are in their proper perspective, means in tattva, in reality, in truth. He can see. It has to be realized. So that submission is necessary, and when Krishna will choose, yes, it is there in Vedanta, then we will think, oh, then he's just choosing someone and he will reveal. No. There it is explained, based on Upanishads, that here it only points out to this point that it must be by his will. No one can surpass his will. He is self-effulgent, he is self-revealing. So no one can get him by his own power. He is asamordha, no one is equal, no one is superior to him. He's a person, he has his own will. But whom he will choose? Whom he will choose? One who will surrender to him. To him he will reveal. Already it was shown before, said in many places. So in this way we have to come to know. Otherwise you will have some wrong conception. So here Arjuna is teaching us that only by the grace of Supreme Lord we can know things in truth, in tattva. He said, this is beyond my comprehension. So only if you show me, then I can know. Shri Bhagavan Uvach Pashyame Partha Rupani Shatashotha Sahasrashaha Nanavidhani Divyani Nanavarna Kritini Cha. The Supreme Lord said, behold, O Partha, forms of mine, by hundreds and thousands, diverse, divine, and of many colors and shapes. Pashyadityan vasunrudran ashvino marutastatha bahunyad drishta purvani pasyascharani bharata. Behold, O Bharata, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, the twin Ashwins, the Maruts. Behold, too, the marvels that have never been seen before. Keikastam jagat kritsnam pasyadyasa characharam mamadehe gura kesha yachanya drashtumichasi. Behold thou, O Gurakesh, one who conquered sleep, the entire universe of things that are both movable and immovable within my body, with whatever else thou desirest to behold. Srila Sridhar Maharaj many times explained. Dhritarashtra was blind, so he was requesting Krishna, you please give me my sight so that I can see you. Then Krishna said, that is not necessary, that I should remove your blindness. That is not necessary. By my will, you can see me. No need to remove blindness. One who has eyes and everything, he cannot recognize or see. And even without that, that is independent. That darshan of Krishna is independent of any material things. You can see by his grace. If he wants you to see, you will see. That is the point. That is why Dhruva told to Bhagavan, by your grace, you entered into me. By your Swarup Shakti, you entered into me, and you awakened that speech in me by which to glorify you, which was till now in dormant state. That speech is devotion, devotional speech. Devotion, because by devotion you can sing the glories of Krishna. So by his Swarup Shakti, that speech which was dormant, that devotion was awakened, and now I can sing your glories by your grace. And by this action you entered into me, you simultaneously also destroyed that false speech, which is speaking illusory things. Material talk. We are speaking so many things. That is all false. It is not reality. It is illusion, false. It is misconceived things. But when one gets the grace of Supreme Lord and can see everything as it is, then he can speak about that by his grace, and such a person cannot speak anything illusory anymore. It is impossible. Like in the night, there is some snake there, but you think it is a rope. Or opposite. There is rope, you think it is snake, and you are afraid or you are carefree. But when sun comes up, then you can see, oh, it is a snake. So you will know it is a snake. When sun is there, you cannot say that is a rope, because already you see. So it will be impossible for you to have material talk, illusory talk, when you are awakened soul. That time you will speak the reality. It may come in installments, but it is reality. And no illusion is there in realized soul. So here, because Arjuna submitted, Krishna told, yes, you see. And he will be able to see, because Krishna wants him to see. Without Krishna wanting, it is impossible to see. If you are blind or if you have eyes, not possible. So tomorrow we will hear further this.